Hey everyone, before the show gets started, who wants to join the NCFB podcast on a road trip to Kinston to watch the series finale of A Chef's Life? Well, on Sunday, October 21st, we meet up at The Kitchen, the name of our new downtown Raleigh studios on the corner of Hargett and Fayetteville Street. We'll start gathering around 12:30 for the bus ride that leaves at 1 p.m. sharp. Our friends at Social House Vodka and Mother Earth Brewing are providing drinks for the ride, and we have Michael's English Muffins making her amazing sandwiches as we head down to Kinston. Once we're there, we'll stop off at 3 Stacks Distilling to see how Social House Vodka is made. And then we'll head to downtown Kinston to Mother Earth Brewing for a brief tour and to check out their awesome tap room. And then the main event, which is to watch the series finale of A Chef's Life. That's right, the award-winning A Chef's Life is coming to an end, but the final episode, titled The Final Harvest, will be screened out in the field at Granger Stadium, home of the Down East Wood Ducks. And cozy up with your favorite blanket in the outfield for a panel with Vivian and the A Chef's Life crew before we settle in to watch the 1-hour series finale. Tickets are $85, but with that you'll receive complimentary drinks, a bus ride, lunch, and tickets to the finale of The Chef's Life. And because we know it's a school night, we'll even get you back to Raleigh by about 10:30. So, join us October 21st. For more information, go to our Facebook page or click the show notes on this podcast. And if you have any questions, hit us up on @NCFBpod on Instagram or Twitter. See you there.
You're listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast, coming to you from the Kitchen Studios, located high atop the historic Raleigh building, located in the heart of downtown Raleigh. The NCF&B Podcast takes you behind the scenes of North Carolina's food and beverage industry. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCFBpod. This episode is sponsored in part by Food Scene. That's FoodSEEN.com. Providing professional photography, social media management, video production, and website design. That's Food Scene. And now, the sommeliers to the stars, the barbacks in your backyard. It is Max and Matt.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the NCF&B podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss, and we are talking about salami today. And to help us, we have the owner of San Giuseppe Salami, coming from Elon, North Carolina, Mr. Giacomo Santomauro, and his marketing manager, Mr. Alex Hale. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Hold on, Matt. We also got another person in this room that has their own microphone and has their own chair this time. Mr. Bobby McFarland.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So Bobby has been on this show before, but sadly, the last time he was on it, we only had 4 mics because we weren't that cool, and so he basically had to sit on the lap of
Jeff Sizer
from Royale when Bobby was working there. But before we get into all of this, just let's preface, I am wearing a Snap Pea hat right now because this has already happened. It happened a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, and we weren't allowed to talk about it because everything Snap Pea Underground related is super secret. It's on the DL. You don't know what's going to happen. But what just happened was the Snap Pea Underground team, including Bobby, who works with Jacob Boehm, former guest of the show, episode 27. Jacob Boehm invited the NCF&B to come in and run the beverage program. So Matthew set up all the wine. I set up the cocktails. We had a few teammates as well to come in. Bobby was on the line cooking some crazy food. But what was the setup of the event?
The setup of the event?
What the fuck did we do?
We ran the bar program?
No, what did Snap Pea do? What did we do?
It was an immersive theater experience with many courses and food and
it was Macbeth, Matt.
Oh, well, I don't know if I guess we can say that now, yeah.
Yeah, it's already happened. So It was, they did Shakespeare, they did Macbeth, so there were actors, there was food, there was multiple courses.
1,000 pounds of pork.
1,000 pounds of pork. Crazy stuff. Like, we moved our bar 3 different times. We made cocktails in this area, then in this area. People were gathering all around. It was in downtown Durham at the Fruit, which is a great kind of art meets food collaboration venue. We'll get deeper into the Snap Pea thing. Anyhow, let's move on now over back to Elon.
Yeah, that's who we are.
and Alex, who is not related to Alan Hale, the skipper of Gilligan's Island.
Sadly, no. No famous relatives here.
Well, you are now the famous relative because you've been on the NCF&B podcast.
Yes, I am. I'm a celebrity now. I'll be giving out autographs next week. Watch out, everybody. It's
autograph salamis.
Yes, autograph salamis. Yeah. We'll sign the salamis.
So let's get the story for the people who want to know and want to understand how this came to be. So you were a firefighter?
Yeah. I moved down to North Carolina to be a firefighter.
Yeah, you were looking all down the East Coast and nobody would take you?
Well, at first I actually applied in New York City and didn't kind of get the job. It's a 5-year waiting list and it just wasn't going to pan out. And at that time I was really set on being a fireman and getting out of the food business completely.
Oh, so you were already in the food business?
I grew up in it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, with my father.
Arthur Avenue?
No, not Arthur Avenue. Long Island.
Okay.
Long Island,
Where in Long Island?
Town called Huntington. It's in the middle of the island, North Shore.
That's where Matt was married.
That is where I was married.
Where were you married?
At Condra Hall.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm from Great Neck.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was married with to my wife on the South Shore at a place called John Anthony's.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up there. Like I said, worked in with my dad in food business my whole life. We had no choice, you know. We were
right. You were
made
free
to
labor
work.
for your dad.
Exactly. Back in the days. So I always wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to get out of the business. So I was kind of bumming about not getting on this New York City. So my dad told me basically start applying everywhere. So I did. I put applications all up and down the East Coast. Put some applications in the West. Smoke jumper, you know, you're 20 years old, you'll take anything.
Right.
Anywhere, yeah.
You know, and I basically got hired a week before I got married.
Okay.
With the High Point Fire Department.
Okay.
So I literally, I tell everybody, you know, I say the same story because it happened just like that. I got the papers 1 week before I got married, and I tell everybody if it was a week earlier or a week later, I probably never would have done it because I was getting married.
Yeah.
So the papers came in, got married in a week, went on my honeymoon. My wife, and the dog packed the U-Haul and moved to High Point, North Carolina. I mean, just...
So wait a minute, what did she have to say about this?
I wish if she was here right now, we would fill up a lot of the podcast right now, and I would be taking her out to dinner and apologizing still because she reminds me that she definitely made a huge sacrifice. And when I was younger, you didn't see it. As you get older, you know, you start realizing, wow, she did all that, you know, and she did. She did all that for me. And start a new life. She left her family. We both left our families, but I had a job.
Right.
So she came, and now looking back, I know why she was crying every night, and you know, but we got through it, you know, because I was gone for 24 hours.
Right.
Being a fireman and coming home and then leaving for 24 again.
Yeah, and I have to say those firemen in High Point probably in that day were pretty busy with all that wood from the furniture around.
Well, actually, it's a funny story. I didn't know what a dust collector explosion was. I had no idea.
I don't know what it does.
Being in New York, it was something that you never knew because I was a volunteer up in New York.
Right.
Nothing collects dust in New York. It's moving too fast.
Right. There's just dust everywhere and dirt. Right. I guess the furniture places that make the wood, they collect the sawdust.
Right.
And they can explode. And that was a big thing that they did back then, is they used to go to these dust collectors. Explosion fires. Yeah. So I was like, I never even seen this before. So it was different, even all around. Even as a fireman, it was just a different...
Yeah.
And so, like, with the firemen, with your schedule, I have a few friends that are firemen in California. Mm-hmm. I think, is it still the same way where you'll work maybe 4 days in a row and then 3 days off, or you just kind of commit to a full
Yeah,
time?
Everyone's is different. Some are like ours was very different in High Point. It was actually really good. It was 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 4 days off.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, as a young...
So your wife can't complain that much.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, when he was home for 4 days, that's what she was complaining about.
Exactly. That's when she was really crying. Right.
Can't you go make chili back in the firehouse?
Yeah. But it was interesting. It was a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, young, exciting, great job. but just doesn't pay the bills, you know.
So to use an old Italian-American cliche in Godfather, and sorry, I have to go there, you kept trying to get out. But
exactly.
Pulling you back in.
It did. It kind of just pulls you in because you do what you know.
Right.
You know, like I said, I was telling Alex on the way here, you know, I tell everyone I'm in the business because I was the only one that didn't finish college.
Okay.
You know, like my brother, you know, he's very successful. You know, he does, you know, he works in Manhattan.
I did see you pull up in an Alfa Romeo, so I mean, I don't think you're doing too shabby yourself.
No. It's things are really starting to do well now. You know, when you work in your own business, it takes time, and you scrape, and then you looking for the payoff. And 20 years of doing this, you get, you know, you get to hopefully enjoy it.
Right. This segment brought to you hopefully by Alfa Romeo. You hear us, Alfa Romeo?
There's got to be like a Keys or a John Heister Alfa Romeo.
Get your Keister to Easter. Get me an Alfa Romeo. You got to tell me, because when you pulled up, I was like, what is that thing? That's not. Felicia's like, I think that's a Mazda. I'm like, that ain't no Mazda. What's the model? Because Alex, you even said, what is it? It's a
Quattrofolio.
Quattrofolio. That's 4 folios. People didn't know that.
4 seasons.
What you didn't see were the
4-leaf clover.
Oh, 4-leaf clover.
Yeah. There's a story behind that. Yeah. I don't know it that well. I'm not here to.
They're going to pull our sponsorship.
Sponsor Alfa Romeo right now.
Get yourself an Alfa Romeo.
Right, exactly, and a piece of Supra Santa in the front.
Seriously.
There you go.
So the thing you missed were the boxing gloves hanging on the rear view.
I didn't miss that.
The tricolor flag on them. With the tricolor flag. I think they're great. I think they're awesome.
The Italian flag.
What else would the owner of the authentic Italian salami company, you know, have hanging from his rear view? Yeah.
So does that indicate that you were a former boxer, or?
About 15 years ago, I started boxing. So I always tell her, I make a joke, I started too late. Otherwise, I could have been somebody, you know.
Well, he needed to make money.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you found money in opening up a deli. Is that right?
Well, at the time, you know, everybody moonlights. You know, all the firemen moonlight to make money. You know. So basically, what happened with me was, we were gonna have a child. My wife was pregnant, and you know, we were actually at a bar, but she wasn't drinking, and we just decided, it was like, you know, what are we gonna do? We're gonna start a family, and how we're gonna survive, you know. So we both came to the conclusion, you know, I grew up in the business, and let's just reopen. Let's open up something you know how to do, and but let's do it our way. That's one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to do it my way because, like, if I was still up there, I'd still be miserable. You know, I was burnt out in my 20s when I worked for my dad because it was his rule, his drive. It was 7 days a week, around the clock, no days off, you know, no holidays, no anything. I mean, I don't think I ever even went out on a New Year's Eve ever.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was going to be at least doing it my way, and what we did is we actually closed on Sundays, which would have been like
blasphemy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how we kind of decided to go back and start doing all the stuff that, you know, we grew up doing. I mean, from when we were kids.
I'm just curious, personal level, why did you stay in North Carolina to do that? If you're going to do that anyway, why didn't you move back north or close to family?
Well, you know, that's a good question. I just never thought to go back. I was still a fireman. And then when we decided, I actually opened my first shop.
And you were still working as a fireman?
Yeah, I did both. Yeah. It's
those
crazy.
4 days off.
And every other day, what I did is I actually opened the store, you know, worked it. And I mean, it's kind of, you know, you mop the floors. And then at night, I would make the sausage and everything for the next day, set everything up, go home, go to sleep. I'd get up extra early, go in, make the mozzarella, make all that stuff early, set it all up. And then I'd report to the firehouse, and then my wife and a helper would run that day.
Run the day that you were fired.
Right, and it was a little juggling at first. That's what you do. You know, you made it work. You make it work. I was telling Alex on the way here, my daughter was in a bassinet behind the counter.
Right.
You know, true stories. I mean, this is not made up. That's how we did it.
You know, I got to just share this one moment because it reminds me a little bit of myself growing up. My godfather, I didn't grow up with a dad, but we had a godfather that was really like a great father figure in my life. He owned Deli DeMarco, which was an Italian deli in Cupertino, California. And my first job was given to me by my godfather. I was 5 years old, and my job was to dust all the shelves. And he'd give me this little feather duster, and my payment would be a Toblerone chocolate bar. And for me, looking at that Toblerone, I'm like, oh my God, that's like $100 right there in my mind.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever dusted for him, he said, all right, dust all the shelves, you get a Toblerone. I dusted what I thought were all the shelves, but I only dusted all the right half of the deli.
Yeah.
My godfather comes back, and this is like such an important thought in my head, and it's stuck with me forever. He looks, he goes, did you dust everything? I said, yes, I dusted everything, Marco. And he goes, all of these shelves are not dusted. He's like, this is all dusty. And I go, oh, okay, I'll do that right now. He goes, no. He grabs a Toblerone and snaps it in half. He goes, half pay for half work. And he gave it to me, and I go, but I'll do it now. He goes, no, the workday is over. I asked you to do this, and you only did half, so you only get paid half. And I was like,
yeah.
And he did not give me the other half.
Yeah.
But the next time I did that job, I did it right, and I always had a full sandwich, a full Toblerone, and maybe a sandwich later, or something like that. Yeah. But it was cool, and it was fun working in a deli. I mean, my brother worked there. We spent years in this deli, so I feel a kinship to you knowing that growing up that way.
Yeah, I think it's I say it's an Italian thing. It's not it's a generation of those old school, that unfortunately are leaving us now. But that generation, they knew, like my father always says, they knew, he knew what it was like to be hungry. And that's a different mentality, and those people grew up that way. So if there was any hours in the day, you were going to do something, to get ahead.
Productive,
you were going to work, or,
And now people are podcasting. What is going
We're
on
just
with
doing
society?
different things now. No, it's just, but you know what I'm saying. You guys know what you do. You guys are working hard. You got this whole thing. We got coffee. I mean, this is great. This takes a lot of work and thought. Definitely.
And before we go further,
so we do a gift bag. We typically give it to everybody at the end of the show, but we figured let's let everyone know who really helps out and helps support this show to keep this podcast running, so that I don't have to dust shelves in my godfather's deli anymore. So what you're looking at inside there, you just pulled out a bottle of Social House Vodka. They're made locally here in Kinston.
That's Larry's coffee, and so you got a bag of that in there. That's a slow roasted coffee with an emphasis on sustainability, and they use fair, organic, and also shade grown beans.
They curated the actual bag for you. That's the Bean Martin. I don't know if they knew that you're Italian, so they decided to give you the Dean Martin version. But that's one of the beans.
That's cool.
You've got muffins from Annabelle. Those are Michael's English Muffins coming out of here, local in Raleigh. Those are the best muffins you'll ever eat.
You see?
And you guys, running a market, you might want to talk to Annabelle because you want to get the best muffins for your guests.
Yeah.
She can shoot them down to you.
And what you just pulled out there, Alex, was a Hungry Harvest. That's a Hungry Harvest. They deliver farm to doorstep fruits and veggies, and they are on a mission to end food waste and hunger. And so that will give you a discount to get a produce box for your very first produce box, complimentary of Hungry Harvest. And then anybody else that wants to go there, if they use the NCFB promo code, they'll receive $5 off their delivery code.
And then even maybe you don't have a beard now, but Alex, when you grow out that beautiful mustache, you're going to need something. And so Magnum Beard Products, they have a beard balm, they have a beard brush, and you make yourself, muy guapo when you grow it all out. Plus, there's some swag from us, some shirts and all. So we better see you guys.
Thank you. That's really awesome.
Rocking the NCFB shirts while you're boxing at the gym.
It's so nice to see here. Seriously, to see all these small local companies. It's incredible.
Well, that's what we highlight.
It's awesome.
And so soon to be in those bags, something that you were just showing.
That's right.
We have what do we have there? You guys tell us. The keys aren't coming. Damn.
Keys just came out.
We got to work on that sponsor.
Well, if we get the sponsorship from Alfa Romeo, maybe.
Alfa Romeo in the gift bag. That'd be a pretty awesome show.
Yeah, so soon to be in the gift bags is our own salami. So our retail size chubs. And then they are actually in our brand new packaging. So we're the first salami that we're aware of in the world to feature a stand-up resealable bag.
That is cool.
Yeah, so it's definitely more consumer oriented. It's the controversial opinion. I couldn't sit here and eat the whole thing. Giacomo could. A lot of people could.
I can eat that.
So the idea is you can
slice them
slice
up,
it,
and then you're gonna put it in a Ziploc anyway. I put, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And it's already in there. You reseal it, so you actually.
It's like a snack on the go thing.
It is, and for retailers, you increase. Once you take it home, you increase your time spent with the packaging, with the brand. You see the company, you see the product, and at the store too, it's a little more impressive. It stands up on its own, which is sort of neat.
That is
so
cool.
what are some of these flavors you got here?
Yeah.
This is salami Vesuvio.
So the Vesuvio, that's personally my favorite. That's a spicier one with bits of provolone in it. We've got a sweet sopressata, hot sopressata, Milano, which is white wine, garlic. Let's see what else we got here. What am I missing? The Classico. Sort of a more traditional. I mean, you know this.
You got the Classico is the light blue, which is actually the original color of the crest of our company.
Yeah.
Which is my mother's crest from her town, San Giuseppe Vesuviano. So
just outside of Naples, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the Classico is just your traditional sopressata, salt and pepper. You got your salami Milano, which is a fine grind with heavy garlic, wine, and peppercorns. You have pepperoni, but our pepperoni obviously is very different than pepperoni you would buy in the mass, market, right? We got sweet sopressata, hot sopressata, and then the Vesuvio, which is like Alex said, it's a little spicier sopressata, and we actually chop up by hand pieces of imported aged provolone, and we throw it in there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you actually see, we had a picture the other day. Somebody said, "Oh, there's something wrong with the salami because the provolone, the imported aged provolone has that stamp on it, that edible stamp, showing that it's imported, and we actually keep that little ink on there when we chop it up, and somebody thought it was mold or something, a defect, but we kind of leave it in there to show you that it's that imported aged provolone, not that, slicing provolone or soft provolone. This is the stuff that's pre-aged, 9 months, so it's got a nice little bite to it.
Nice. Which flavor am I eating right now?
So that's the hot sopressata. It's a little bit spicier. It's really nice.
This is my wife's least favorite part of the podcast was when I start eating on the microphone. Oh wow, that's spicy. But
got a little bite at the end. Yeah.
God damn, I love good spice.
Yeah,
that's really good.
It's a really nice balanced flavor.
Yeah.
All right, so how did you kind of obviously opening a market and growing up in a deli, of course, I can understand having that background, but this is pretty specific, getting into making salami.
Yeah, well, actually, where we started really broadening what we were doing is once we moved to Elon, actually. Okay. I mean, we were doing all this stuff, for forever, we just expanded on it. We just started, like the Vesuvio, for instance, we just expanded on that. That's almost it's a made-up name. It's my mom's province was Vesuviano, so we called it salami Vesuvio. So you're only going to have it in North Carolina right now, because we make it here.
Sure.
So it's kind of like with that one, we just took what we know and put a new young twist to it. Being a younger generation, not so old school, doing something out of the box. So we took the pieces of provolone and threw it in there, kind of like the peanut butter and the chocolate thing.
Nice.
But we really started kind of doing really, really out of the boxes. We started really getting into our deli line, like making, the big loaves of ham and ham capicola.
Yeah.
We make a good chicken line. It's like a local chicken breast, and we make a smoked. We put them in nets and smoke them, a smoked deli chicken. We also make one that's encrusted in peppercorns. These are things that we really kind of just started evolving, to try to put out a full line of items. And the deli items are really neat and different too. Like our ham capicola, we just basically made the ham, and we just kind of tested and fabricated our own blend to put on the outside of like cayenne, bay leaves, ground anise, and just came up with our own crust, and then we just put that inside on the exterior of the product. So that's when we had time, when I had a lot more time, we could do a little bit more create a little bit more out of the box.
Yeah.
But from the basics,
Let's talk a little bit about the actual curing process and getting into it. And Bobby, feel free to jump in here and ask the questions. But so you're starting all your base ingredients, like your hams and your chickens, as you said, are all local, right? Yeah.
Yes. We're Goodness Grows members, so we've been a Goodness Grows member for
Goodness Grows.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's through NC Dept.
You're one of the founding members.
Well, I've been involved in it since it was starting. I remember they used to give you a license plate, and then you were a member. But in order to be a member, you basically source your products from North Carolina. So basically, what we're doing is, and we've just done it that way anyway. It's just you would get your meat or any of your materials if you can locally,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like it's no different than the way we grew up. You get your cheese from your uncle, and Uncle Vittorio fixes your car, and you eat at and Pat's house, and that's what you do. You work with everybody in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Right. Everyone kind of brings the community together.
Contributes to the whole thing. Yeah.
Everyone has a specialty in things, and everybody works together. So we get the meat locally from the farmers. And then we'll turn it around, and we'll make the meats. We'll make a different product with it. So.
And we're really in a great place for it too. I mean, North Carolina.
And it happened to be
is the pork capital of the country. I mean, it's really an ideal place for us to be.
That's happenstance. I mean, obviously you came out here to be a firefighter, but you ended up in
totally random.
Yeah, it is
state to live in.
Yeah,
but just an incredible place to do this.
Yeah. Everything, like I said, everything happens for a reason.
I just want to say,
never thought I'd be in North Carolina.
I had that salami Vesuvio, and that provolone comes through, and it's delicious.
Yeah, that cheese in there.
It's my favorite. It's the best one.
Like, you don't even need to put a slice of cheese.
They're all great.
No,
you made a sandwich out of this. That's all you need.
Look, we're all about efficiency. Cut out the.
Seriously, in this day and age,
it's all there for you. No, it is my favorite.
We'll corner the market when we can figure out how to put it on a fork. Right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of those
Open it up
those Italian sausage pinwheels that has like the provolone and parsley in it that you get at the butcher shops.
Yeah, we have those at the retail store. Cheese and parsley. The pinwheels. We make those. We send those from Milan, and they're at the store fresh all the time. And you just pan sear those, and there's nothing like that. And it's just cheese and parsley. That's all that's in that item, and it's in a sheet casing. And my son loves those. I bring those home all the time for him.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, that's a
great
great item.
Toothpicks. That's an instant appetizer right there.
Yeah. I mean, and you're right. It stands by itself. I mean, you shove that on a roll, and it's amazing. You don't even need anything. That's how good that sausage is. Yeah.
All right, so Bobby, help us out with the technical information. Let's get into this curing and the process and the technical stuff.
Well, and as a reference to this is that Bobby's not just randomly here. Bobby's into salami. You used to work for
Maria BLSing.
Yeah, up in New York, and those guys are like some of the best salami makers in all of the Eastern Seaboard and all. So you've had some experience kind of working with it. So even just the process, Matt and I really don't know anything about how you make salami. So even just an amalgamation of the both of you, Giacomo and Bobby, give us some ideas. So like, how do you just go from raw pig meat and get it to the point where it starts curing and it turns into something that's more what we recognize as a salami? What does that mean?
I have in front of me the charcuterie book. So this is basically the Bible for anybody who wants to do this at home. And they actually reference BLSE a lot because BLSE is the only company, I think, in the country that does not inoculate their raw product with a lactic acid starter culture. And I think, it's pretty hard to be able to do that. Giacomo, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But
no, it's not that hard. It's something you can do easily.
I mean, legally?
Oh, legally. Well, we can walk on that line. We can walk on that line all day long. Yeah, I mean, what makes sense and what you can do and what you're not allowed to do is definitely a big difference. And you're right. Legally, you cannot. Actually, it's very easily done. It's just you're not allowed to.
Yeah,
that's the big thing.
So we're talking about like putting yeast or fermenting the meat.
So from what I understand, and again, this is not, I'm a cook, I'm not a salami maker, but from what I know,
get out of here then. What do we bring you here for?
Because I know slightly more than you, Max. That's why.
That's right.
There you go.
You think of the raw product as like a bacterial battlefield, and eventually you trust that when hanging it in the proper conditions, when treated with salt, the bacteria will kind of battle itself out until the proper bacteria wins, quote unquote. What most companies do is they inoculate the raw product, with the winning bacteria ahead of time before any sort of battle takes place. And, some people say that creates a more one-note flavor, but to be honest, eating this stuff right here, I don't really get that. This is an excellent product. This speaks to my heart right here with the cheese.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
So how long would it take to say make this particular the Soprasada or the Vesuvio, just from pig to store? How long would that process take?
Okay. Probably we were looking at like most of our products, like that one there, would take anywhere about 2 months to 2.5 months to finish out.
Like curing, aging, and all.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with how people want to make it. I mean, there's obviously a lot of shortcuts and different things you can be done, but we really have never changed anything except for the stuff that we had to change to actually do it. So we really haven't deviated too much from originally how we were making it and my family makes it and all that kind of stuff.
What's some of the stuff you had to change?
Well, for instance, like,
you have to put the
you
winning
have to
bacteria
put that in there, but it was never put in before. Everything, it was done millions of times, without it, and it's fine, and it actually produces its own bacteria by itself. But this is just another fail-safe that they make you do. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal.
It's government regulated.
Yeah, and it's always about how they're trying to protect everybody, and we can talk about that all day. I mean, I don't mind
a person or two in the scope
that has a weak stomach. It's Darwinism, right?
Well, natural selection or something, right?
Hey, I was just gonna say that. You get one guy who shouldn't be being in that business, and another guy that probably you didn't like anyway, right?
Yeah. We don't need you weak stomach people around because we have to take care of you and medicine and
you got a bellyache, big deal.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, snap out of it.
So something that's unique about your business is that you can get all of this stuff online and it can actually be delivered to you. Salamis by mail.
We have the greatest URL in the world.
Yeah, salamisbymail.com. You've sold to every state in the union except for North Dakota. Has that changed since the time you've tapped that?
Come on, North Dakota.
No, we still have not shipped anything to North Dakota.
And North Dakota.
And to be clear, for quality control reasons, we can't ship to Alaska or Hawaii. So it's really
in the lower 48.
In the lower 48, it's everywhere but North Dakota.
Right. Well, they don't have internet in North Dakota, so we can say whatever we want.
We actually thought
I think I got a bar fight in North Dakota.
We thought about just mailing a box.
But Forbes did rank Bismarck, the capital of North Dakota, as the 7th fastest growing small city in the United States. So you have some potential, maybe a new customer.
I think one day. We thought about, mailing one as like a relief, like, I'm sorry you're in North Dakota, we have some salami for you.
Matt always loves to challenge any fact that I ever mentioned. Go ahead. What did you think I got wrong?
Is Bismarck, North Dakota? Are we positive about that?
Fargo is a city and is the largest city in North Dakota, but is not the capital. Bismarck is the capital.
Bismarck's a capital, but is it south?
Pierre is South Dakota. I'm a geography minor in school right now, actually.
Let's throw it back over to Alex. What is Vermont?
Vermont's Montpelier.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah, good job. It's the only capital city without a McDonald's.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's the only. They had one. There was a revolt. There was.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and they put them out of business
on the NCF.
I think it's something like 50 miles to the closest one. So yeah, if you're in Montpelier, they also have, I think, like, the tallest building there is like 6 stories or something. I mean, it's a very small.
And right now they have a 14-year-old running for governor and a transgender running for governor.
They do it, yeah.
They're like the most progressive state in the union. It's crazy.
Yeah, they are.
Who knew?
Can you believe this today?
I mean, you get geography, salami, nitrates.
Wow. I was leading the conversation to one point because I want to talk to my my sommelier over here to my left, Matthew Weiss. If we're eating salami like this, I'm going to throw you on the spot a little bit. What would you say would be the type of wine that you would love to have with this particular dish?
My palate right now is screaming for like crisp, sparkling rosé.
Oh wow!
Like Cremant d'Alsace, or maybe even some Franciacorta rosé. Because let's keep. You love to talk French.
I got busted on the Adam Carolla show for not knowing what Franciacorta was. That was great. Thanks, Paul Bryan.
Yeah,
everyone hates you.
I want some really crisp bubbles because my palate is saturated with flavor and salt and all that, and I want something refreshing and like bubbly.
That's funny. I was thinking totally opposite. It's always great when you hear somebody say that because that took me in a different direction, which sounds better than what I was thinking. But I thought like a real rich red wine that, like, something silky and almost like that Tempranillo we had last night. Granted, that's Spanish, but I mean, you can go rule of thumb a lot of times is go where
Region
the
to
country
region.
is.
That
Sure.
would be this one then.
You're making Italian
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, listen, you wouldn't go wrong with that. It's just that's more of a melding of flavors than opposite of flavors.
Well, the reason why I was going down that way is because Triangle Wine Company is a company that helps us out with the podcast as well.
And you can get either there.
You can get your Franciacortas, you can get Tempranillos, you can get any, rosés, whatever you'd like online at trianglewineco.com. Just like salamisbymail.com. It's a great way to go online, you shop, you get your salami over there, you get your wine over here. You can also get beer at Triangle Wine Company. And they service all of kind of the Triangle area. They have locations in Cary, Morrisville, Southern Pines, and soon to be Holly Springs, Matt's neck of the woods. And so if you live in any of those regions, then you can put your order in. They will deliver to your house, or you can go by, pick it up. Best part is, because you listen to the NCFB podcast, you tell them that you heard it there, or you also put the NCFB promo code in when you order, and you receive 10% off your purchase.
And in thinking about that, I think they sell some food products
they
there.
do. They have like some snacks. Maybe you guys should.
We should set you up with Triangle Wine Company, because that would be an awesome fit. You can sit at your bar and eat your salami.
Yeah,
and
we have a lot of bars. That's a big business now. We got a lot of these nice little wine shops and
microbreweries and things like
microbreweries.
that.
So Giacomo, I gotta ask now, kind of as we're getting close to the end of the show. You're a firefighter. You're from New York. You moved down to North Carolina. You dragged your wife down here as well, kicking and screaming. But then you open up a deli. Then you make salami. You're selling online. You're making all this amazing product.
Sure.
Do you get your family, your Italian-American family from New York to come down to North Carolina to see what you do?
No.
They don't come down?
No.
I was going to say, I wonder what their perception is, and do the New Yorkers with the very esteemed palate of New York food give you the respect you deserve down here in North Carolina?
I don't. That's not with the case with my personal family. My brother lives 2 blocks away from my parents. My other brother lives 2 blocks the other way from my parents. I mean, everybody still stays in their community. They don't leave, and that's just the thing. I mean, my mother cried too for years because I left, and I was the youngest of 3 boys. So, no, they will not. They will never come down here. But
not even to visit.
They visit. They'll visit. My brothers, I don't think they come. Maybe once every few years they might come down. My parents, my mom passed away last year. They used to come down like twice a year. My parents.
Yeah.
But would they give you your just due? Would they come to the deli and have a sandwich?
Of course.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Totally. Like my dad, the first thing my dad does, we get off the plane and we'll have a. We change. I change all the time. Everyone says, "What's your favorite sandwich?" I mean, one week it's the paisano, the next week it's sausage and peppers. But my father right now has been hot on the sausage parmesan, and that's because we take the sausages that we make and we cook those down in the sauce. I mean, it's your Sunday. It's basically your Sunday sauce or Sunday gravy, and that's the sausages cooked. For 4 hours or more, so it flavors your sauce, and then the meat, that sausage, is basically like butter, and it's on that sandwich. And when you eat it on the bread with the melted provolone or mozzarella, it falls apart. So that's your meat. And he's been in on that lately. The sausage parmesan is his favorite right now.
So you got your dad's stamp of approval, I think is what. Yeah. So
I mean, he's Italian dad. He'll never say, "Hey, son, I'm proud of you." They don't do that.
Right.
Those old timers.
But the validation is when he wants that sandwich.
Right, exactly. Yeah, or he talks to you.
I gotta feel like there's got to be some pride knowing that you brought a little sense of this Italian American community from New York to North Carolina. You're kind of one of the only guys doing that, really in that nature out in this area. So there's some pride in that sense, and you're helping evolve the North Carolina food culture. Matt and I have talked about how ethnic food, if you will, and even Italian American food now is almost just kind of like the embodiment of American food. It's
become Americanized, and Italian food, people think about it or have this impression of it that it's Central Italian food, which is just one slice of the country.
It's so many different things. But you're adding to the chapter of the evolvement of the North Carolina food scene, which is pretty amazing. So thanks and kudos to you.
I do have one last question that I want to get to. Salami. So salami is an umbrella term, essentially. right?
Yeah.
So all these things are salami. So what makes soppressata different from pepperoni, different from...
That's recipes and
It's just flavoring, essentially?
It's flavorings, yeah. And like you were saying before, it's also different. It's demographically different, you know? Like every town, it's going to taste different. Like my uncle's soppressata is way different than, you know, my other uncle's soppressata. Just like everybody's wine was different. We're like, oh, we got to go to Uncle Vittorio's house because he has the wine with the bubbles, natural bubbles. You know, it wasn't about being proud of me or anything. It was more of like it's a cultural thing. It's a family thing. It's nothing. It's just something you do. You sit on the phone and you talk about gugoots, which are Sicilian zucchinis. You know what I mean? And I'm growing them this year because I told my and that's what you have conversations about. It's not about
3 feet long.
Yeah, the food and the business. It's kind of all the same thing. It's about the being together and the culture and the food. That's what's not being, I'm proud of you. No, it's, hey, you know, we're all eating together, and hey, I got this today, and oh, I got that in the garden. Let's have this. Let's try that. You know?
But what I want to get at for a second, what differentiates soppressata from pepperoni from, like, specifically?
It's spices.
Okay.
Mainly.
Like, so if I want to make Matt's soppressata,
right,
what would I use?
It would be, it would be spices. I mean, they can vary. I mean, the spices can vary to whatever you know, from whatever your town was, you know, that's how you kind of knew people.
Okay.
And then obviously the way it's ground is a big part of it on the soppressata.
What would be my choices for grind?
Well, the soppressata, on any soppressata, it's going to be a very large grind. It's not a fine grind.
Oh, I see.
And that's a good point with that too. Like the Milano or Genoa, those are finely ground. The meat is ground fine.
Okay.
Where on a soppressata, the meat is very coarse.
Okay.
So you're going to get a piece of fat, you're going to get a piece of meat, and it's all, you know, and then the way you're spicing it. So that's kind of what separates the different names and flavors and grinds would make that.
Okay. And then so just to take that one step further,
sure.
So with pepperoni, like you said your pepperoni was very different.
Right.
So what's the difference between the pepperoni and the soppressata?
Okay. So like on the pepperoni, again, when you were saying how like Italian food has become like American food, well, pepperoni has lost its identity in the United States, really. I mean, now it's this oily, greasy orange thing that
you
get,
put on pizza.
Yeah, and you get, you know, oil around your lips when you're eating it, and that's really not what it is, you know, anymore. We were just talking about sausage, not to get off the subject, but like sausage has become a condiment nowadays. So you put sausage on your pizza. Well, sausage is a meat. It's a center of the plate. It's something you would have with peppers and onions. It was something you had over polenta. It was the meat.
Yeah.
But because it's been so much fat and, you know, just not the same, that's why people travel to get our sausage, because it's 18% fat. I mean, you're going to taste pork, and then you're going to taste Italian spices. You're going to taste maybe a fennel seed. You're not going to taste the MSG and that big explosion of this Italian sausage flavor.
Right.
And then it's this mushy, soft piece of meat in a case, and that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened. But you have ours, it's like eating a pork chop with a little Italian spice to it. So it should be your center of the plate.
Yeah.
So the salami is the same way. Pepperoni, ours is really good because it's spicy. It's not oily. It's 18% fat. Even though it's ground fine, it's still the same amount of fat as a soppressata. You just don't see it.
Right.
So it's 18% fat. And it's going to give you those pepperoni flavors to hold on by themselves, not that MSG that gets put in there, or the BHT, all the stuff that we didn't get involved in, but the stuff that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah. Right.
You know, because people in America, Americans like a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
You know, matter of fact, we're talking about the Classico. That's salt and pepper. Mm-hmm. If I get somebody coming in from Italy or anybody from Europe, I train my guys, give them that, because they've got a softer palate. They want to taste the pork. They want to taste the meat. They want to taste the flavor, natural flavors. Somebody more, which sells obviously a lot more here, would be the soppressata. Mm-hmm. It's that little bit more kick to it. The garlics, the wines, the real oomph in there. That's what people want. They want a little bit more here.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust to the
My
people.
wife tells me she has a sensitive stomach, and she does like the FODMAP diet. Not to get into that, but basically garlic. She's very sensitive to garlic and onion. And when we traveled through Italy, there was no problem at all, because when they travel in Italy, when you cook in Italy, it's like a little clove of garlic, thinly sliced, just the seasoning. But here, if you go to an Italian American restaurant, it's like tons of garlic, tons of onions. It's like, no. It's just a hint of that.
It is. It's a misinterpretation. You're supposed to taste natural flavors of everything. Like we're talking about eggplant and gugoots. I mean, those are just natural things. I mean, those are things you get in the garden. You know, I mean, unfortunately, though, we eat a lot more of the, excessive. Yeah. I guess we all eat excessive. We're all a bunch of gabons, right?
Gabons. So, Alex and Bobby, I want to give you a chance in case you had anything else on your mind. But, Alex, make sure we get all the proper places that we can go get San Giuseppe salami in here and to get a sandwich if you're in Elon.
So, the beauty of it is you may have already had it and didn't even know it.
Okay.
We're on menus at restaurants across North Carolina. Our retail size, kind of what we brought in today, we are in a few dozen Harris Teeters, all the way up to D.C., and as well as online, of course. And then just specialty markets, smaller grocery stores, breweries, wineries, vineyards, and a few other stores here and there. We recently found out. Sometimes it's funny. We discover we're in the store and we didn't even know it.
Huh.
So, like Giacomo found this at the Piggly Wiggly in the Pamlico Sound.
Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah, I walked in there and I was like, oh, Piggly Wiggly, and it was there. I was like,
so you have a distributor?
Who's
your distributor if the restaurants?
Well, we don't get into that. We've got a couple of distributors. We don't like to get in the middle of all that.
I know a couple. We work with a few.
If a chef wants to get your product, just contact you directly.
Contact us.
No, demand your distributor to just get it because they can. A lot of them won't, but they can. It's available. We make it, and we always have whatever they need. We make it down the road. If we don't have it, we're a small business. We make it happen.
Right.
That's the difference. If we're just like, we don't have it. We're going to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
We still work day to day, and if we need to get something done, we're going to do it. So don't let them fool you. But majority of them are the small restaurants, the small businesses. Those are the people that are using our products locally, and that's what's really cool. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, for a chef to go out of his way, sometimes these chefs will call and go out of their way to get it, which is more important. I mean, that makes me feel better than selling. I'd probably give it to them. I mean, that's just such a nice, it's an honor. It's really nice that somebody would
totally, use your product.
Well, very nice.
Yeah.
But
Bobby,
got anything?
Well, I know we used your chorizo at Snap Pea back in the spring. We wrapped it around some asparagus and just roasted it off really simply with some salt, pepper, and olive oil, and it was excellent.
Nice.
Spanish chorizo.
Chorizo's great. That's one of my other favorites.
That's a big one. That one won the Good Foods Award in California.
Yeah, we did. So we won the Good Food Award in San Francisco for our sweet sopressata and our chorizo.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So
cool.
Go out, get online, salamisbymail.com. Look for San Giuseppe Salami Company, and like you said, you probably already had it, and you probably already had a great time.
That's what I always tell people. My friends are like, "Oh, I've never had it. What do I get?" And I was like, "You probably have." And I start listing the restaurants that they know and they love that they've been to, and I have had it. It is really good. So
there you go.
Like I said, you probably just don't even know it, and we are trying to grow our retail side. That's something we really want to work on, and we want everyone to be able to enjoy this. We want as many people as possible to enjoy.
You got to get an Alfa Romeo.
I know. Well, and I'm still in school, and this is the best job ever for me. It's really, really a joy to be able to work for such a great company. And
we turned him Italian already. He's already part of the family. He's drinking espresso in the mornings. We converted him. It took a week. We turned.
I don't know.
Everyone that works from even if they're not Italian, we turn him Italian.
Let's see. Let me hear you say mortadella and capricola.
Oh no. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I can't do. I mean, I'm from Georgia. I can't do that.
You just take the A off of everything.
We do
my
that
sister-in-law tells me.
I do appreciate the Italian Americans. Giacomo, you said it, the mortadella.
Yes.
It's how you hold your hand. It's how you hold your hand too.
Some things you gotta stick to when you grow up, like gabardines, and
And I'm like, gobbledygook? What? I have no idea what he's saying every time.
Nobody knows what gagoots are.
I just kind of let him keep talking.
Well, I gotta get out of here because I'm a gabon and I gotta get some gagoots. So everybody,
perfect.
Listen, if you're hungry for some salami, look for San Giuseppe Salami. You will eat and drink very merrily.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the NCF&B podcast. I am the voice, Brian Hoyle. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.